directly threaten our homeland and our allies.
An ISIS supporter warning of attacks on the United States if it continues conducting military strikes against the terrorists. The message posted on a well-known extremist website promising an equal response to any American military action. And word of a Benghazi bombshell, here's the Blaze Radio's Robin Walensky.
Scrubbing documents related to Hillary Clinton and Benghazi? Well, a brand new report from investigative reporter Cheryl Atkinson at the Daily Signal website of a high-ranking State Department staffer by the name of Ray Maxwell, who reportedly walks in on a Sunday as documents being separated to reportedly protect the former Secretary of State before an investigation.
This is news on the Blaze Radio Network.
Everyone is making the switch to the Blaze to make it their source for the truth. Why not make it your source for the truth? Make theblaze.com your homepage for news that the other outlets won't even touch. Subscribe to The Blaze TV at theblaze.com/TV or on Dish Network and get access to original programming like For the Record, the show that exposes what's really going on that the government doesn't want you to know. And Real News, the daily conversation on the topics of the day that matter most. Check out the Blaze Radio Network at theblaze.com/radio with original shows like Buck Sexton, The Morning Blaze with Doc Thompson, Pat and Stu, and Jay Severin. Or, if you need something to hold in your hands, subscribe to the Blaze magazine. So basically, anywhere you need to go, you can take the truth with you by taking the Blaze with you. This is the Blaze. Truth lives here. So just to recap, anywhere you need to go, you can take the truth with you by taking the Blaze with you. Find out all the ways at theblaze.com.
The manhunt for a cop killer continues. Here's the Blaze Radio's Tom Peace.
Police giving more details about the shooter involved in the killing of a Pennsylvania state trooper last Friday night.
The perpetrators may have an ongoing issue with law enforcement or the government. And this attack could be directly related to an incident that was investigated by the Pennsylvania State Police at Blooming Grove.
Pennsylvania State Police Colonel George Bivens believes the shooter has formal firearms training, frequents a shooting range, and may be a Pike County resident. A $75,000 reward is being offered for information leading to an arrest. I'm Tom Peace, the Blaze News.
The Ebola outbreak in West Africa is responsible for nearly 2,500 deaths. The World Health Organization saying the epidemic on pace to infect at least 20,000 people. The president expected to announce the U.S. will be sending 3,000 military troops to Liberia to help combat the outbreak. Expanding controversy in the NFL over players being charged with off-the-field violence. The latest now from the Blaze Radio's Chris Barnes.
There's a report Minnesota Viking star Adrian Peterson, indicted last week for whipping one of his 4-year-old sons with a tree branch, is facing new allegations that he beat another of his children. That after the mother of a different 4-year-old son of his files a report with Child Protective Services about a similar incident. Before the new allegations hit the news, the Vikings reinstate the star running back Monday. He'd been held out of Sunday's game after the first round of charges, but the Vikings GM Rick Spielman announces,
"We are trying to do the right thing. This is a difficult path to navigate."
Steve, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
All right, so we're all good now?
Yeah, I think so. Like I said, we're live right now. So
okay, good.
I took that software off, and I think that's what's causing all these issues.
All right.
Okay.
The Taliban claiming responsibility for the attack in the Afghan capital. No word yet on the nationalities of the 3 killed. I'm John DeMaster with news on the Blaze Radio Network. Truth lives here.
You can make a world of difference with a little flu shot. When you get your immunization at Walgreens, you'll help provide a life-saving vaccine to a child in need through the UN Foundation's Shot at Life campaign. Thanks to customers like you, last year we helped supply 3 million vaccines. This year, let's give even more. Simply get a shot and give a shot. Walgreens, at the corner of happy and healthy.
Valid through October 13, 2014. Aggregate donation up to $1 million. Vaccine subject to availability. Some restrictions may apply. See walgreens.com/get-a-shot for details.
You don't have to chain yourself to your office computer to be productive. There's a better way. Use GoToMyPC, the secure remote access tool from Citrix that turns any computer, tablet, or smartphone into your office computer. With GoToMyPC, you can access your network, use any program, save, edit, send any file from anywhere. It sets up in minutes and is super easy to use. Try GoToMyPC free for 30 days. Download the free app, then visit GoToMyPC.com and click the Try It Free button. That's GoToMyPC.com.
The Conifer, the Kenner Star, KTV, City Business, and WLAE. It's WGSO's own Jeff Crouere.
All right, we are back, and got a busy hour coming your way. We're going to start off with Steve Sabludowsky and more of your calls, and take them at 504-556-9696. We'll keep our open line going. Any topic you want to address, fair game, from crime to Ebola, from ISIS to the NFL. And now we've got things worked out with our special guest. You can check us out online at WGSO.com, or, of course, on the airwaves at 990 AM on your mobile device. Just download the TuneIn app. Or go to Bayoubuzz.com, check out our Google Hangout, and Steve Sabludowsky with us. Steve, all right, we got everything restored. How's everything?
Hopefully everything's okay. Let me just say this. I think what we're doing, again, have been doing for the last year, is historic. There's no other.
All right, your video. I mean, your video is great, but your audio just sort of went low. So speak up a little bit and make sure we get that audio working good. So go ahead.
Okay. What I'm saying, first of all, hopefully it works. What we're doing is historic. There's no website or radio station, to my knowledge, that is providing this convergence of new technologies.
Yeah, and of course the technology is not quite there, because Steve, your audio then went out again. So, Darryl, why don't you work with that, see if we can get that resolved with Steve. And in the meantime, let me take some phone calls the old-fashioned way right here on the radio at 504-556-9696. The audio is sort of going in and out, Darryl, so see if we can get that resolved so we can get Steve back on with us. But in the meantime, we've got a lot to talk about. Everything from ISIS to the NFL, from what's going on in Syria to what's going on our borders. 504-556-9696. Now joining us, our good friend, always love hearing from her, the one and only Miss Violet. How you doing, Miss Violet?
Praise the Lord. Good morning. What a beautiful day today, and I can see the sun shining today. Oh, my God. Praise the Lord.
Yes, ma'am. A good day to praise God. You're right.
Yes, and good morning to our listeners and our callers. Praise the Lord. Technology, Steve, may fail us, but Jesus Christ will never fail us.
Yes, ma'am.
But look, I would like to say something about, Captain this morning.
Yes.
Oh, Captain, I tell you, I appreciate you, Captain. Mostly everything you said this morning, I really went along with you. You understand? But guess what? Captain, you know what you did? That lets you know right then and there that forward dart that the Lord speaks of it in the Bible of the enemy. Say, guess what? Shoot your forward darts. If that dart get through, you got that enemy. So guess what? You got liver. Guess what? Now you got to turn around. You see a little clearly now. Now you can see clearly. So guess what? Leave Captain alone, because guess what? Captain speaks the truth most of the time. Some things I don't go along with him, but I go along with him this morning. So, liberal, guess what? You lost, and you will continue on losing until you repent and turn to the Lord and stop all your madness with Brown and where Brown at anyway?
He ever since he dropped out of the Senate race, haven't heard from him, Miss Violet.
I tell you what's going on with him. Humpty Dumpty had another great fall. and put Humpty Dumpty, because guess what? Ain't no good. Jesus is the only one that can put us back together. So guess what, Brown? Guess what? Those pieces. Humpty Dumpty had a great fall. All the kingdoms, all the money, all the fame, all the fortune, all a perversion and all kind of stuff could not put Humpty Dumpty back together again. The only one that could put Humpty Dumpty back together again is the Lord and Savior Jesus Christ to repentance. Oh, Lord, you repented. And, Brown, I just hope you are somewhere. God has pulled you on the side to deal with you, so you can come back. Brown, we need strong men that will speak out and not afraid to speak out and stand on God's truth. Be bold, like God told us to be bold. He don't want us to be bending and having the devil running us, causing us with all kind of confusion, like America. Babylon means confusion. America is all over the place, all kind of mess everywhere. You got Al-Qaeda, you got ISIS. You know, ISIS, I looked at it. ISIS was a pagan goddess. So you look at ISIS and Al-Qaeda, guess what? There must be a husband and wife. The husband and wife is one. What is going on? We got to pray. God said in the last days, he said the whole world will be deceived with the exception of his elect, with the exception of his remnant. And that means which is the body of Christ. Body of Christ, guess what? The world is some of I think it's is winning. That's a lie, y'all. We praying. God is in this.
Yes, man.
People out there born body of Christ. Keep on praying, y'all. We keep lifting up each other.
Yes, and that's the thing. Lift up each other and keep praying, Ms. Violet. Thank you, my dear. Great to hear from you. I think we'll try again with Steve Sabludowsky when we come back, see if we can get this audio worked out. Give it another good college try. And then take more of your phone calls, 504-556-9696. From the NFL to ISIS, from Syria to the border, from our crime problems to our political races. Just some of the issues we're getting into this morning. Want to hear from you. It's WGSO, 990 AM, WGSO.com. A little bit later on, look forward to visiting with our friend Bernie Cyrus. Got an announcement to make concerning Bernie, so stay tuned for that. We got tickets to give away to Politics with a Punch coming up Thursday night. Stay tuned for that. But first, a message. We'll be back.
In Washington parishes deserve the quality of life they worked hard to attain. Unfortunately, all is not good. We need a bold, fresh start. With Warren Montgomery, our own decorated, independent, former federal prosecutor, he'll make us proud again.
I'm Warren Montgomery, candidate for district attorney.
Steve, are we good now?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, it's echoey, but it's better. You know, last time the volume went up, and then it just went super low.
Okay. Yeah. Well, I'm not using the microphone right now.
Okay. So, I think it's just stick with that then. Okay. Try to keep talking.
Okay. We're live right now. It's on the website, but I'm not using the microphone.
Okay.
So is that okay?
Yeah. Let's stick with that. All right.
And long durability. Helm Paint and Benjamin Moore, your New Orleans paint store.
Everyone knows that the city of New Orleans has the best food in the world, and obviously we're known for the best music in the world. But we're also known for producing some of the best coffee in the world, and no one does this better than New Orleans Roast Coffee. And I should know. I'm Felton Jones, the roast master of the city's well-known PJ's Coffee and New Orleans Roast Coffee, the city's newest and freshest brand of coffee on the market. At New Orleans Roast, we put an emphasis on quality and freshness in every cup. You can find all of our great creations at the city's finest restaurants. Also look for it at your favorite local grocery store.
The tradition continues. Ken Trahan inviting you to join us for the 20th year of Ken Trahan's Original Prep Football Report on WGSO 990 AM, WGSO.com, SportsNola.com, and our statewide network. It's Countdown to the Original with Ro Brown and Henry Rando at Bears Po' Boys at Gennaro's on Causeway and Metairie Road before Rick Daly and I go from 7 to 11 with reports from top games, expert analysis, and frequent scoreboards. Catch Friday Night Football with Ed Daniels and JT Curtis at 11. That's the original Friday night from 6 to midnight on WGSO 990 AM, WGSO.com, and SportsNola.com.
You can lead a horse to water, but you can't make a jackass drink. If you're thirsty to feed us your opinion, Ringside Politics for the Punch is hungry to hear from you. Give Jeff Crouere a call now at 556-9696.
All right, back with our special guest, Steve Sabludowsky, and more of your phone calls, 504-556-9696. Steve, anything you want to comment on before we take some more calls?
No, I just, Reverend Brown, I was wondering if you heard from him, and apparently not. So, I don't know. You have to wonder, where is he? I mean, I know that he was a daily guest.
Yeah, we've invited him.
He's a daily caller.
Yeah, we've invited him ever since he dropped out of the race to call into the program, give us his update as to what happened, tell us, his thoughts for getting out of the race, and haven't heard. So we're waiting on Reverend Brown, but he's got an open invitation, and we certainly hope we'll get some clarity from him, because a lot of people are, speculating. All right, Steve, we got all kind of folks who want to chime in. Let's go to the phone calls, 504-556-9696. Mike checks in from Chalmette. Hey, Mike, how are you? Good morning.
Good morning, Jeff.
Hey, Mike.
I heard a thing on the radio about that people are using their welfare to buy marijuana. And he said they use a loophole in the law. So somebody tried to get this loophole to pass a law to get it filled, so they could feed their children instead of taking marijuana. And the Democratic Congress shot it down. Now, you could look it up. I'm not sure, but I heard that on the news that the Democrats refused to close this loophole so they can still buy their marijuana with their...
So they're buying weed instead of food, and we can't change that? Okay.
They passed a law. I mean, they tried to pass a law to stop it, and the Congress shot it down. I'd like to bring up, too, they're always saying that this is not a Christian nation. We were Christian before we even became. Could you tell me what the name of Columbus's ship was? If you remember.
Santa Maria, yeah.
Yeah, so when she came across, then they...
the Nina, the Pinta, and the Santa Maria, right?
Right, the Santa Maria, which is Mary. Now, in 1531, when the Indians were being, they took away their land, their whole society was being destroyed by the conquistadors. Mary appeared to Juan Diego, one of the first Aztec Indians to become, and she said she wanted to have a cathedral built on top of Tepeyac Hill. And so, and also the Bishop of Mexico was named by the King of Spain the protector of the Indians. So if he was named the protector of the Indians before any of this happened, then he appeared to Juan Diego in 1531, and now the bishop realized that he was trying to talk to the good people. She was talking to the good people of Spain. He could never stop all these injustices that were done to him, but she was trying to tell the ones who knew better, if you want to do this, go ahead, but you're going to pay for it in the end, in the next life. So he tried over and over to stop them from doing all these injustices to the Indians. So all this took place before America was even founded. So I just wanted to bring that up.
Thank you. No, I mean, I appreciate the information, and always appreciate your calls, Mike, and thank you for joining us. 504-556-9696. I did also hear that story about the welfare for weed program. So that, I think, is an accurate story that you heard about. Let's take some more calls, Steve. 504-556-9696. A gentleman who's generated lots of discussion here this morning with his comments. He was targeted by our friend the Flaming Liberal. He's having a chance to respond. Our good buddy, coordinator of the Home Defense Foundation, Captain Black, joining us. Hey, Cap, good morning.
Greetings, fellow hostages.
Greetings, Captain.
In regard to Flaming Liberal, I give a quote from a famous black Muslim, since that's a big concern of his, Malcolm X, who said that the white conservative was the fox, but the white conservative was the wolf, but the white liberal was the fox, pretending to be your friend. So I see your fangs, Flaming Liberal, and have seen them for a lifetime.
And you wouldn't stop with the Flaming Liberal, wouldn't you say it's sort of the same with a lot of these, quote, liberals that are trying to help out the black community?
But the dynamic is, if you take political labels off the table and just look at it this way, why would black men be the only part of the population where it's okay to be a felon? And then instead of saying, don't be a felon, or if the road in life is now hard because of your past behavior, that's a burden you have to bear, you say, no, we're going to try to decriminalize certain categories of crime where we're disproportionately represented. And then, as an added bonus, we're going to say that we're going to have reentry programs so that, for instance, if you want to be a violence interrupter, a ceasefire, does a life of promoting personal responsibility, community activism, are those a criterion? No. You need to be a convicted felon. One of their recent hires was somebody who was a convicted murderer. Now, people say, well, he paid his debt to society. That's true. But does being a murderer, being a rapist, being a drug dealer, does that now become a perverse employment credential for black men? And who benefits? They don't. But the program manager, the grant writer, those persons benefit, and overwhelmingly they are not members of the black community. So my whole critique is very simple. If slavery was wrong, if Jim Crow was wrong, then being a cottage industry, of social engineers outside of your community who always make money off your dysfunction, that's equally wrong.
Well,
but I can understand that flaming liberal needs, black flunkies to prop up his sagging self-esteem. I just choose not to be one of them.
All right, my friend. That's the captain's comments. Appreciate you, Captain. 504-556-9696. Steve, one more issue I want to address before we take some more calls. The NFL has got itself into quite the situation over the past few weeks. The Ray Rice situation and the Adrian Peterson situation. Another allegation of child abuse now coming forward concerning Peterson. He's scheduled to play against the Saints this weekend. Do you think the commissioner needs to take action? Do you think something should be done as far as this incident, or should we just sit back and let the court proceeding take place? He's been charged with child abuse. I think a court case is not until October the 8th. Radisson has backed away from their sponsorship of the Vikings because of their concern. What are some of your thoughts on this?
Well, I'm glad I'm not Roger Goodell right now. That's for sure. It's a tough one because you rather have the team make a decision about something like this rather than the NFL, as far as I'm concerned. You rather have the team basically, judge its own, and and I think that's really where the problem is. I mean, it's what point in time does the NFL, because then you get into the whole issue of that you've brought up many times, and that is political correctness. What is politically correct for the NFL and what is not? I can take an extreme situation and just say, well, what if a player does one thing and a lot of people agree and a lot of people disagree about whether or not that player should do that or not. And it's a tough one, and I think it's better controlled locally.
Within the team organization.
Within the team organization.
Yeah, the owner of the Vikings, I think, is under indictment, I think, for his own corruption issues. He's the one who made the decision to allow Adrian Peterson to come back. So we'll see if it is something the NFL decides to get involved in or not.
It's a real issue. Going back to, like I said, that you brought up in the column, like for example, with the situation with the Los Angeles basketball team, and then you had, of course, the Atlanta basketball team. It becomes a political issue, and rather than an issue for an organization that's a private organization. It's real. I think it should be. All these issues should, to the extent possible, be local. And if the people decide that they don't want to be involved with the games and watch the games, then don't go to the games. And,
we talked about boycotting and so forth. By the way, ratings are down this year for the NFL. So it looks like some people are turning their remotes off, and I don't know whether it's because of these scandals or not, but
it's because the Saints aren't doing too well.
Maybe because so many people watch here in New Orleans. All right, let's get some more calls in. Steve Sabludowsky with us, Jeff Crouere here, 504-556-9696. our good friend Miss L joining us from Lakeview. How you doing, Miss L? Good morning.
Oh, good morning, Jeff. I'm fine, thank you, and thanks so much for taking my call. I tell you, I tried to get in earlier because you really got some hot topics going on this morning. I want to make some comments. First, Larry's pertaining to Larry's call. The parents in those areas where their children are attending these schools should be up in the street, and I wonder what it takes to get people organized to protest. And that's the only thing that's going to draw attention, excuse me, to what's really going on. And then with Captain Black's call, Captain Black nailed it. He addressed all the issues, and I knew the flaming liberal was going to come out and try to excoriate him like they do with every black conservative, a black man or woman that would stand up and tell the truth about the things that are affecting the life and the health of the country, especially in the black community. So I applaud him. I agree with what he says, and it's all true. I've been saying it as well. We do not need white liberals, because liberalism is a mental disorder, to define anything that's going on in the black community and offer any type of solutions, because it's the height of racism to think that we need to be held to a lower standard than other people. Okay, and Ms. Violet, agree with you 100%. She took the liberal on. She nailed that. She put the final nail in his coffin, but of course he'll be back. And Brown, yes, Humpty Dumpty had that great fall once again, and we are praying for his salvation because he needs a heart change, a heart transplant. He will be back, however. And
at some point, I'm sure he will be back. Yeah, we just don't know when.
Know the truth. It's a good thing that we all know the truth about these people and what they promote, and I speak out once again and encourage all your informed, intelligent listeners. Keep fighting. Keep fighting.
Yes, ma'am. All right, Miss L. Good to hear from you. That's L in Lakeview. Jim joins us in Kenner. Hey, Jim. How are you? Good morning.
Hey, how you doing, Jeff?
All right. Hey,
I tried to get in earlier. You were talking about the rules of engagement.
Yes.
You know, we wouldn't have won World War II if we had rules of engagement. We'd be speaking Japanese or German right now if it wasn't for that, because the soldiers completely did away with that, especially on Okinawa. I mean, they were getting killed like crazy until they started doing away with the rules of engagement.
That's a good point. So why do we have them now, Jim? I mean, what's at play here?
Well, you can't. I don't understand why we don't have why we have it now. Like, you can't win a war with rules of engagement. It's not going to happen. We would have never won World War II. Rules of engagement. We didn't win Vietnam. Rules of engagement.
Well, that's a concern.
Another thing, I wanted to comment on what Mike had said in Mandeville.
Yeah.
If MacArthur would have went into China, guess what? We wouldn't be having problems with Korea or China today. If Truman told him to stop at the 38th parallel.
So he should have been allowed to do what he needed to do, but he wasn't.
Yeah, he should have been allowed to do what he needed to do. I'm not talking about atomic weapons, but we had Korea on their knees, and we had China on their knees at the end of the war.
Right.
Guess what? 5 years later, 1950, the Korean War starts.
Hey, Jim, interesting call, my friend. Thank you very much. Steve, can you come back and wrap it up with us? A few more minutes. Steve Sabludowsky, Bayoubuzz.com. We'll take a few more calls. And then our friend Bernie Cyrus is going to be checking in with us at WGSO. We'll be back.
990 AM, serving New Orleans, Louisiana for 60 years with the American way.
This is the Blaze Radio News. I'm John DeMaster.
ISIL's murder of 2 U.S. journalists outraged the American people and exposed to the world the depravity of ISIL's ideology and tactics.
Defense Secretary Chuck Hagel testifying as the growing threat of ISIS in Iraq and Syria being explored in a Senate hearing. Some anti-war protesters disrupting the hearing had to be removed by Capitol Police. Lawmakers considering the president's request to fund the training and arming of Syrian rebels. A vote in the House expected this week. The Blaze Radio's Robin Walensky's been following the latest Benghazi bombshell.
A brand new revelation from investigative reporter Cheryl Atkinson at the Daily Signal website of a high-ranking State Department staffer, Ray Maxwell, reportedly walking in on a Sunday as documents being separated to reportedly protect Hillary Clinton, the former Secretary of State, before the Benghazi investigation.
We came in on a Sunday in this basement room, he says, underneath the joggers entrance, and asked the office director, who technically worked for him, but he had not been consulted, he says, about her assignment, what was going on. And she said, we are to separate any documents that could prove embarrassing or damaging to the seventh floor being Secretary of State Hillary Clinton, her top advisors.
Atkinson, a guest on Fox and Friends.
The World Health Organization outlining the 5 elements of their plan to stop the Ebola outbreak.
To stop the outbreak, treat the infected, ensure essential services, preserve stability, and prevent outbreaks in countries that are currently unaffected.
The president expected to announce the U.S. will be sending 3,000 military troops to Liberia to help combat the outbreak. A touching ceremony marking the 1-year anniversary of the Washington Navy Yard shootings. Names of the 12 victims killed that day read out loud. The tragic event, September 16th of last year, ended with the killing of gunman Aaron Alexis. This is news on the Blaze Radio Network.
Come join us at Jiggers Bar and Grill this football season. Sunday, Monday, and Thursday nights. We have 50-cent wings and $6 pizza, $10 for buckets of 15 imports. Ladies drink 2 for $1 on Thursday, and happy hour is daily, Monday through Friday from 12 to 7. The bar's open 24 hours Thursday through Saturday, and the kitchen open late till 5 a.m. at Jiggers Bar and Grill, 1645 Veterans Boulevard, 1 block before Bonneville. See you soon at Jiggers.
The city's premier day spa experience is at the Woodhouse Day Spa. The Woodhouse Day Spa finally brings the spa experience to New Orleans you had to go out of town for. The Woodhouse Day Spa, 4030 Canal at Carrollton, or call 482-6652 for an appointment.
Young's Dry Cleaning has free pickup and delivery. Young's Dry Cleaning comes to you, home or office, East Bank or West Bank. To get on Young's free pickup and delivery list, call 288-8381 or online at youngsdrycleaning.com.
Join us Thursday night for Politics with a Bunch. It's Louisiana's version of Politically Incorrect. Jeff Crouere here. I'm the MC of this fun event, held at the Eiffel Society, 2040 St. Charles Avenue. Doors open at 6. The event begins at 8. Our great panel includes the judges, Frank Marullo and Yolanda King, great comedians, and WGSO sports director, Ken Trahan. Tickets available at the door or at a discount at ringsidepolitics.com. See ya Thursday night.
Ringside Politics with a Punch and Jeff Crouere are on the air now. Whether you're defending a sacred cow, beating a dead horse, or shooting the bull, bring your chickens home to roost now by calling Jeff Crouere at 556-9696.
Hey, welcome back. Jeff Crouere here. A few more minutes with Steve Sabludowsky of Bayoubuzz.com, and then our friend Bernie Cyrus going to be checking in with us, talking about a new project he's involved in. Our phone calls 504-556-9696. Always encouraged, appreciated. Steve, any comments before we take some more calls?
Yeah, I'd like to just add, and that is that if your audience could take a look at a column that I wrote last Friday, it deals with the Common Core issue, and something from the Chamber of Commerce, that a report from the Chamber of Commerce that really shows how bad Louisiana is in terms of trying, for students, trying to get the jobs of the future, and how the current LEAP tests and unLEAP tests, tests that Louisiana is embracing to determine whether or not the students are ready and prepared for those jobs, that they are, the scores are higher than what the scores would normally be compared to international scores. So, you know, I know that I really have a question as to whether or not we're able to be able to put tests together that are going to be reliable, and so far we haven't, and that's I think a real issue because we're performing so poorly.
Where does everything stand as far as the lawsuit and the whole drama involving Common Core? What's the latest?
Well, the latest that I'm aware of, at least, is that Jindal has filed a lawsuit against the federal government, saying that Obama is basically conspiring, to control education. Pretty much the same thing that he said in the state lawsuit, and keep in mind he refused to testify in that case. Mm-hmm. Refused to testify, and he could have testified and spoke and been cross-examined, and he refused to do so. So, now he's filing against the federal government. I think that, you can say what you want about Common Core, but I think that the question is, how do we get a test that where we can compare apples with apples? That is, our students compared to the students across the nation, compared to the students across the world. That's my concern. And that's the only issue that I think that we should focus on in terms of Common Core.
All right, let's take some more calls. Steve, Bernie Cyrus is going to be joining us in a few minutes. We got some Politics with a Punch tickets to give away. You can get more information about Politics with a Punch at Bayoubuzz.com. And, of course, Steve will be there with us Thursday night. We're going to have a great panel. We'll be talking more about that in a few minutes. Steve, let's bring on Michael on a cell phone who's with us. Hey, Michael, good morning, sir.
Hey, good morning. You made my day, Jeff. You cut me off after 46 seconds while you talked to your intellectual equal, Miss Vile, for about 6 minutes. So let me talk a little bit today. You must be getting your tips from Roger Ailes of Fox News because you're so fair and balanced. Where they have a show called The Five, where they have one liberal versus 4 conservatives, because it takes 4 conservatives to equal 1 liberal. Now, here's the deal. Islamophobia. The word Islam was not used by the president, and properly so, because when the nation of Germany, which was all Catholic Christians, killed millions of people, tried to wipe out a whole race, we didn't call them Nazi Christians. When the Bosnian Christians were trying to wipe out the Muslims, killing poor women and children merely because they were Muslim just 20 years ago, we didn't call them Bosnian Christians. And that's why we don't call the Islamists, because they're not really Islamists.
Oh, are you an expert on? You're an expert on Islam, Michael? So you know what's real, true Islam and what's not?
I know, I've read a lot of it, but here's the deal. Islam's got some crazy things in it, just like the Bible does. Although I'm a believer, I'm a born-again Christian. Mm-hmm. The Bible says if you find somebody, you should pick up snakes if you see them. There's a snake charmer. They also said if a woman is caught in adultery, you're supposed to kill her. You're supposed to kill a witch who's caught, and because of that, the Christians in Europe killed thousands and thousands of women.
All right, Michael, you're just filibustering. Let me just say this: we go back with the radical Islam threat in recent history, back to 1970s when we had the, of course, embassy overrun in Tehran. And I think you can point to a series of terror attacks against U.S. and Western interests coming from radical Islam. You claim that we shouldn't be saying they're Islamic. I think we should be very clear with the American people about what we're facing. And it's not just Obama, but Bush was reluctant to say Islam. We're reluctant to make the connection. But experts that I've had on this program that I trust who have studied this say that we've got to be more clear with the American people. Steve, any comments before we take some more calls?
Well, I do think it's radical Islam, but here's the issue as I see it, and that is that you're trying to get Arabs to be the boots on the ground. Well, if you make this a Christian versus Islam or Jewish versus Islam war, then chances are you're not going to be able to do that. You're not going to get the Arabs to contribute, especially the boots on the ground.
Well, we're already seeing Egypt taking action on their own, Steve. They're bombing the sites in Libya that they find to be a threat to their country. They're putting Muslim Brotherhood leaders in prison. So we already see a country that we should be applauding, but we're not, for taking action against Islamic threat from an Arab country right there, Egypt, the largest one.
Well, I'm sure that you probably agree with me, and that is that you don't want to slap somebody in the face and then expect them to go ahead and to do your dirty work.
I say, why aren't we applauding Egypt for what they're doing?
I'm not saying that.
Why aren't we giving them more aid for battling Muslim Brotherhood elements in their own country? We're sort of letting them fend for themselves right now.
Well, okay, let me ask you this. How many boots on the ground do we have now, and how many are we going to have, and who's going to do it, and is it going to be the Arab nations? Because I think, from what I can gather, those are the people. This whole thing is in their neighborhood. Those are the people. Those are the people who are going to have to make a difference. If we're really going to win this, and to make this, I think the radical Islamic people would love to make this a holy war, and I think that we've got to be very careful about that. So
we need to find these quote secular and moderate elements of Islam, I think, and support them where we can. I think we need to see more from the Islamic community calling out radical Islamic threats and doing something about it. That's why I see Egypt doing something. Yet I don't see Obama on TV praising Egypt for what they're doing. It seems to me, we need to encourage those in Islam that are taking effective action against the terrorists within their own faith, and I see it in Egypt. And I think that should be a model for other countries as well. And yes, we need to applaud them, we need to encourage them, we need to support them. It's not all of Islam that we're battling. It's this radical sect, which I think, unfortunately, is several million people. That is a big group. Let's get some more calls in. A lot of people want to chime in. Captain Kirk is with us on the West Bank. Hey, Cap. Good morning.
Hey, man. Yeah.
Hey.
The ISIS calls themselves Islamic. They call they say they might Obama and all that. They don't say it, but they call themselves Islamic.
Yeah.
They're Islamic.
Yeah. So that's why, shouldn't we at least say, hey, well, this is what they call themselves? I mean,
that's right. Yeah, that's what they call themselves. Even though we don't want to say it,
They're saying it. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah. We tried to put the Muslim Brotherhood in Egypt, and they said they don't want it.
Yeah, they got rid of them. They put the guy that Obama wanted in prison, Morsi.
Right. He's in. Would too. That's right.
He's in prison right now.
Yeah.
So I mean, we've got a country that we should be working with, that we should be supporting, and we're not, and that's what I don't understand, and that's what I'm worried about.
Right. In the Ebola, man. Well, I guess you got to, the Africans. I guess you got to have diversity. So put 1,000 Americans over there and let them catch it. Since the whole world's got to be diversified and all under these people.
Well, I worry about those troops, and if I were in their families, I'd be very worried about what they're going to be exposed to. Captain, I appreciate it. Steve, we have time for one more quickly. Adam and Pearl River, welcome aboard, sir.
Hey, good morning, Jeff. Yes, I heard Michael calling in from his padded cell earlier, attempting to slam Israel and compare Israel to radical Islam. It's a funny thing, though. I haven't heard lately about anyone from Israel cutting people's heads off if they happen to be Christian. And I do know that all of the Holy Land sites in Israel are allowed to be visited by Christians anytime they choose. So Michael's slanted, demented, insane point of view takes him right where he is into his padded cell.
All right, my friend. Adam, thank you very much. Steve Sabludowsky, thank you. We'll have a column later on today for Bayoubuzz.com. And, of course, we invite you to come join us Thursday night for Politics with a Punch. Steve